In this episode, we talk about the White House unveils valuable LGBTQ resources. The only thing weaker than Bud Light's beer is their apology. Republicans are mad, fanboys are mad, everybody's just mad that there's more than one kind of person in the world. Oh well. Welcome to Full Circle, the podcast.
Coming to you from the dining room table at East Barbary Lane, welcome to a new episode of Full Circle, the podcast. A weekly visit to our home where we squeeze a few headlines through our decidedly queer lens and see what happens. This episode is brought to you by Decanted Jug Wine and Azaleas in Bloom.
I am your host, Charles Tyson Jr.
And I'm your host, Martha Madrigal. Welcome to the Full Circle table.
Hi, baby.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. It is a lovely Sunday morning here in the neighborhood. A little gray, but yeah, folks are out mowing grass, so you may hear a lawnmower or two in the background.
Right. Today feels hectic.
Today is a little hectic. We are going to see the final performance of Cabaret at the Bristol Riverside Theater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that is a matinee. So
Right.
We'll probably record for a bit and then get out the door and then come home and finish. So
I wasn't even supposed to go.
well, and now you are. So yay. Yay.
My day changed 3 times in rapid succession.
It's changed because the friend that we're going with had COVID. So instead of, I think, opening weekend, we wound up with closing weekend. So it's today anyway. We are recording on Sunday, April 16th. It's almost tax day.
I know. Don't even.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
Gotta get my shit together.
Just putting it all in context. You know. And then the dog insists on being held. And
Well, yeah, because
I'm surprised there's not a cat on the table because, you know. Yep.
don't give
I'm not
them
summoning
ideas.
him. I'm just saying. I'm surprised he's not here already.
That's usually how this goes.
Yeah, kind of.
Sure.
Kind of. The animals want to be involved.
You know, they could care whether we're alive or dead at any time until we sit at the mic, and then all of a sudden they are really interested in the goings-on of our lives.
Well, that's true. But everyone but Shady is always happy when I come home from work. They insist on lap time every night. It's like clockwork.
Well, he's scared of you.
I know.
And you like it that way.
That was carefully cultivated. We have our moments.
I've never seen them.
No, it's usually when you're not around. Because if you're around, he's your cat.
Right.
And he's like, he can't be bothered with me. But when you're not around, he'll brush my leg and then look at me like, can we do this? Is it okay? And I'm like, fine. Scratch behind his ears. He's like, you'll do, and he's not here, and I kind of,
Wow, that just sounded really like...
I know. But it's fine. It's all fine. I'm not mean to him. I mean, I'm never, I'm not mean to him.
Well, good.
Yeah, but we're just not close. We're not close. And which is fine. Yeah, it's all good. Rosie, on the other hand. Rosie is the weirdest cat. Rosie's my cat, I guess.
Yeah.
But she's a weird, she will either bite you or love you to death.
Or one and immediately the
or
other.
Or one and then the other when she's done with you. Yeah, she's even acted that way toward me. And then I'm like, get out. Just get out. But, And then there's Ellie, who's the sweetest, happiest dog in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say brightest. I said sweetest and happiest. He dances.
I suppose that's accurate.
It is. Yeah, there he is. Anyway, so Rachel Pollack, who I have to say is someone I was not familiar with, early trans activist and writer, has died at 77.
Yeah, she was the creator of a trans superhero for the Doom Patrol comic in the 90s.
Yep.
Which I never read, but I was aware of his existence, as something that was in the zeitgeist at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. And apparently she was one of the foremost voices of tarot, which I think is why I know her name.
Yes, she apparently wrote the seminal book on the tarot.
Right.
Which I did not know. So I, read up on her, and may she rest in peace.
Yeah, she was a fascinating figure.
Yeah, she would have come out, she came out in her early 20s and transitioned. So that would have been in the 1970s.
Wow.
Yeah, I did read that she was born in Brooklyn, but then moved to England, where she was, writing and a paid writer as a trans woman, as an out trans woman. So that would have been in the 70s. So yeah, yay her.
Exactly. She was a good friend of Neil Gaiman, who's one of my favorite authors,
right,
for like 30-something years.
Right. I saw that.
Yeah.
So may she rest in power.
Indeed.
She leaves behind a wife. Sounds like they were together for a long time.
Yeah.
We do have good news.
We do.
I want to get to it.
There's a bunch of good news.
I saw that. I may have even skimmed it.
Starting with, the White House announces a crisis hotline for LGBTQ plus youth.
Yep.
This is major.
I agree.
So, the White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, during Thursday's White House press conference, she emphasized the existence of the resource. She said, "I know that these political attacks can really take a toll on people's mental health."
Yes, they are.
Mm-hmm. "So I want to say directly to LGBTQI plus kids, you are loved just as you are, just the way you are. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, you call 988, the National Crisis Hotline, and dial the number 3 to talk to a counselor who has been specifically trained to support LGBTQI plus kids." I think that bears repeating. Dial 988, which is the National Crisis Hotline, and then you dial the number 3. And then you can talk to a counselor who has been specifically trained to support LGBTQI plus kids.
Love
I
this.
think that is amazing.
Love this. Yep. During these incredibly hard times for these trans kids, they're proud to offer this new service. This has been one of the worst weeks of 2023 so far in terms of anti-LGBTQ bills become law in states across America, Jean-Pierre said. 3 anti-LGBTQ laws have been enacted so far this week in Kansas, Indiana, and Idaho. The press secretary lamented a series of laws passed during the past week, including state-level bans on trans athletes' participation on sports teams that align with their gender identity. Because there's nothing else to do in America. We don't have a gun problem. We don't have an education problem. Everybody's fed, fat, and happy.
Mm-hmm.
Just yesterday, the North Dakota Senate passed 10 anti-LGBT bills in just one day. A single-day record. In Kansas, the state legislature overrode Governor Kelly's veto to make Kansas the 20th state that has banned trans kids from participation in school sports. I like that the White House is not just paying attention, but calling out this nonsense.
Yeah.
With the enactment of a new law in Indiana, 14 states have now banned gender-affirming health care, while some of these laws are currently blocked by courts. This is a dangerous attack on the rights of parents to make the best healthcare decisions for their own kids, and that is exactly what it is. Yeah, they have thus far introduced 492 bills in 47 states this year targeting trans people, according to Trans Legislation Tracker. But Jean-Pierre stressed the administration's commitment to queer kids, noting that it was proud of students who organized protests and school walkouts to tell the politicians in their states to stop this legislative bullying. Couldn't have said it better myself, because that is exactly what this is. These children's genital fetishists are bullies.
Indeed.
And
Period. Point
nothing
blank.
more.
Yeah.
Nothing more. They're bullies. Their attacks are baseless. They have no grounding in reality, and they are indeed harmful. So I love that this exists.
Yeah.
Dial 988 and press 3.
Yeah. I'm going to find a way to add that into the bookmark links we have in our link tree alongside the ACLU Trevor Project and things like that, because
Beautiful.
that is something that always needs to be put up front.
Okay. This next one, it just made me smile when I read the headline because I was like, okay, go. This makes perfect sense to me. And
Exactly.
I love it. I love it.
So Billy Porter is going to play James Baldwin in an upcoming biopic.
I think that's brilliant.
I do too.
I think it's brilliant.
I can't think of a better
Right.
person for the role. And apparently it is going to be produced by Byron Allen's Allen Media Group.
Okay.
Motion Pictures, which means there's going to be money for this.
Nice. Nice. And Billy Porter is writing it with Dan McCabe.
Yes.
This is exciting.
It is exciting.
Yeah. James Baldwin, legendary novelist, essayist, activist. If you haven't read James Baldwin, I really suggest you do.
Yeah.
It should be just part of the queer canon, you know?
Yeah.
It really should.
James Baldwin is a special figure for me in that he, alongside with Josephine Baker and Quincy Jones, were my introduction to Black people being able to go abroad and have a stellar life, you know, in other parts of the world where the Jim Crow bullshit wasn't a thing and they were able to thrive, and then come back and have that worldly mindset that they could bring to the States. That was a big eye-opening thing for me, that, you know, although I still haven't left the States,
Right.
it's still, you know, a part of me and something to aspire to.
Yeah, Baldwin was in France.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
France was the place to go for Black folks back in the day.
He was a good friend of Maya Angelou, mentioned in her books. Yeah, and I love his stuff. And Giovanni's Room is a seminal queer piece of literature.
Sitting on our shelf.
It is. It is. Yeah, so it makes perfect sense to me that Billy Porter will be portraying James Baldwin. I love it. I love it. I love it.
We might actually go to the theater for that one.
We might.
And you know it will be fierce. Apparently, Billy...
This is a Martha movie.
Right.
This right here, this is a Martha movie.
Right.
Yep.
Apparently, Billy Porter is just an Oscar shy of being an EGOT.
Oh, how cool.
Maybe this will be it.
I hope so. I hope so. And a lot of times, portrayals of famous, you know, people in history are prime for an Oscar.
Right.
And Billy Porter will, I believe, play James Baldwin with such depth. Such depth. I'm excited.
Right.
I'm excited. This is good news. I love it. What else we got?
So,
oh, Jesus.
Dylan Mulvaney appeared on Rosie O'Donnell's podcast. And
Which I did not know was a thing.
Yeah, me either.
I did not know.
And basically, she made it known that the community, like, we all need to step up for trans people in the queer community as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The message is for the entire LGBTQ plus community and our allies. It's time to step up for sure.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Rosie's podcast is called Onward with Rosie O'Donnell. I did not know that Dylan Mulvaney was in the touring production of the Book of Mormon.
I did not either.
Yeah, it was a little tidbit because, you know, it's Rosie O'Donnell, so they had to talk about Broadway.
Broadway, right. I did not know that. How about that?
Yeah.
And now she's got endorsement deals with both Nike and Bud Light, which folks are losing their minds over.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little while.
Mm-hmm.
She said...
I've tried to be the most uncontroversial person this past year, she said. And somehow it has made me controversial still.
Yep.
I think it comes back to the fact that these people, they don't understand me, and anything that I do or say somehow gets taken out of context and used against me, because that's what they're doing. Words mean nothing.
You were trans while you said it, so of course they're going to do it.
Exactly. That's really all it takes, my love. It's so sad because everything I try to put out is positive, and that's the truth. That's the truth. It's trying to connect with others that maybe don't understand me. It's to make people laugh or to make a kid feel seen. She also shared that she's less concerned with the right-wing talking heads and podcasters, what they have to say about her, than with what their words may inspire their listeners to do.
Yep.
And exactly. And boy, have we talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten so bad to the point with all these bills that we just have to stay alive. This is the time for not only straight people, but we need the LGBTQ plus community to show up for us. It's all hands on deck. It is not a time to sit idle. And, fellow queers, we already know they have no intention of stopping with just trans people.
Right.
So if you think this doesn't apply to you, you're wrong.
Yep.
You're wrong. It's don't say gay in Florida is the perfect example of that.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying it.
Don't say gay, don't say black.
I think ultimately they will lose. I think this is the last gasp of desperation. And as we talked about last week, the numbers are already saying, Republican voters think this is ridiculous. So whatever your game is, it's not working for you. And good. But in the meantime, we got a lot of folks upset.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of folks upset.
But I'm glad that Dylan is using her platform to get a positive message out and be a voice for the community.
Yeah. Yeah. She said, I wake up every day a little happier than I did the day before, despite all this nonsense. Which is cool.
It is cool. Very cool.
And that's what we have to do. I mean, our existence is an act of resistance.
Yep.
Just existing.
Yep. That was my first social media post upon waking the day after Orange Cheeto Man got into the White House.
Mm-hmm.
Our existence is an act of resistance, so be it.
Yeah. Yep. And that's what it is. And we're not going anywhere, folks.
Nope.
So, yeah, I saw this. I don't know who this is. So why don't you take it?
Pedro Pascal?
Yeah, I don't know who
he's
that is.
in The Last of Us.
Okay.
And The Mandalorian.
Okay.
Which
Did I see
neither
The
one of us watched.
Mandalorian?
No. That's
Okay, I didn't think so.
Yeah. It's a Star Wars series that one day I'll care about.
Did I see... I only saw the one episode of The Last of Us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
He was in it. He
was
was
in
the
that
one going around with the girl.
Okay, got it. Got
Yeah.
it. Now I know who he is.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to the story here.
Yes. I love how this article in the Pink News refers to him as the internet's favorite daddy. People have been thirsting over this man.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so his sister, Lux Pascal, came out publicly as trans in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And he talked about his relationship with her and how protective he is of her. He said, quote, "My protective side is lethal."
Okay.
Yeah, he said, "My protective side is lethal, but I need her more than she needs me." He said, "She is and has always been one of the most powerful people and personalities I've ever known."
Nice.
He said, growing up, she was the favorite child. She ruled the household right away. When my older sister and I would visit, we were like intruders. Our mother was her mother, but for us to think that we were entitled to this woman's attention in any way was absurd.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
And Lux said that her brother was the most important part of her transition journey, saying that he had served as a guide for her. She said, "My transition has been something that's very natural for everyone in my family. It's almost something that they expected to happen. And Pedro was one of the first people to gift me the tools that started shaping my identity."
I love that.
Yeah. Like, I have yet to hear a single negative thing about this man.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I was in Pink News.
There's certain celebrities that, like, that's just the thing. Everyone fucking loves them.
Yeah, hey. Hey.
Right?
Like Dolly Parton.
Exactly. Like, anyone that says they don't like Dolly Parton is a bold-faced liar, and you can tell them I said so.
Yeah, I think so. She's Dolly Parton.
Like, you don't like Jolene? Really? Really?
Right. And now you're humming it in your head, and I know you are.
Right.
Let's move along. Meet the gay combat vet who will run the American Medical Association. Dr. Jesse Ehrenfeld. Mid-March was the annual LGBTQ plus Health Awareness Week, designated by the National Coalition for LGBTQ plus Health. The week is intended to help the healthcare community advocate for reducing barriers to LGBTQ persons by creating and maintaining safe, inclusive, and welcoming environments, and ensuring quality, accessibility, and non-discriminatory healthcare. Hear, hear.
Yes.
However, for the incoming president of the American Medical Association, who will be the first queer person to head the 176-year-old organization, health awareness among members of our community should stretch beyond 1 week.
Word.
Quote, at present, we have so many health issues affecting our community, particularly among trans youth, and so it's more important than ever to be vigilant. Dr. Jesse Ehrenfeld will become the AMA president in June after being elected during the AMA's annual meeting last summer. As the nation's preeminent professional organization of doctors and medical students, the AMA lobbies for its 270,000 plus members and promotes the art and science of medicine and the betterment of public health.
Work.
Yeah, he's currently a senior associate dean and a tenured professor of anesthesiology, director of Advancing a Healthier Wisconsin Endowment at the Medical College of Wisconsin. He was elected to the AMA's Board of Trustees in 2014, also a combat veteran who deployed to Afghanistan during both Operation Enduring Freedom and Resolute Support Mission. I've been advocating on behalf of the community for over 20 years and am proud to have founded the Vanderbilt University Medical Center Program for LGBTQ plus Health, which offers education and training to healthcare providers on LGBTQ specific health concerns. And, we can speak to that personally. Like, how different is life having a queer affirming medical practice?
For real, though.
Yeah, it's awesome. And, I'm in my new job, I am introducing some new folks to the whole notion and sending them where we go to the doctor, because it's great.
Yeah.
It's really great to be seen and be affirmed and be treated with respect. And, we have so many issues, especially with trans children and adults. If you've got a prostate, you need a prostate exam.
Right.
You got to get those numbers checked. If you, happen to have reproductive parts and a vagina, it needs some maintenance. And, they have doctors sensitive to that. So trans men are actually able to get respectful care. And that's so important.
Right.
So important.
It's a basic thing, but it's a big thing.
It really is. It really is. About trans youth, he said, it is imperative that we expand, not contract, care for trans youth. Hear, hear. We have to reassess how we improve the quality of healthcare for trans youth and adults in the face of government intrusion into the practice of medicine. And that is what the party of small government is doing. They are intruding where they do not belong. And, politicians making medical decisions is a recipe for disaster.
Yep.
It's a long-standing position of the AMA to oppose any laws that limit access to medically necessary care and restrict the ability of healthcare professionals to care for their patients. In the past, the AMA has also called on lawmakers to recognize the rights of patients to make their own informed decisions about their own healthcare needs. I like this man.
Yeah.
He said instead of being singled out, transgender youth should be celebrated and embraced for their strength and courage in being their true selves. People don't realize how much bravery that takes. They should not be ostracized or be shamed for who they are and who they feel like they should be. Our transgender youth need our support more than ever, and they need our understanding, compassion, and acceptance so that they can reach their full potential. I am excited about this.
You know what it sounds like to me? Another adult being put in charge.
I know, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Can
I love
ya
it.
stand it?
Unlike what's happening in Florida with their medical board.
Sure.
This is not a politician. This is an actual practitioner. And, it is high time, especially in light of all this bullshit going on, that we do have someone who really does understand our healthcare needs.
Indeed.
Heading up the AMA.
Hey.
Yo. How cool is that?
So, Brittany Griner is going to be publishing a memoir
Good.
on her wrongful detention in Russia. That is going to be a page turner.
No kidding.
So she announced on Tuesday that the memoir is going to be published, detailing the events of the worst year of her life. It'll be coming out next spring. The yet untitled book is her first detailed account of the years that shaped her life and an incident that captivated the world in 2022. In February, we know she was arrested at Sheremetyevo Airport in Moscow for allegedly having cannabis vape oil in her luggage. And she was detained in a Russian prison for 10 months.
Yeah.
Or most of a year, if you don't want to.
Yeah, she went from Olympic champion to hostage, and
Yeah.
her memoir traces her life journey. She vividly describes her wrongful detention by the Russian government, navigating a complex legal system in a language she does not speak.
Mm-hmm.
Furthermore, she describes the frightening aspects of daily life in a women's penal colony. She also chronicles the beginning of the global We Are BG movement and the issue of pay equity for women athletes in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Good. They're so worried about women's sports.
Right. Because if it weren't for the pay inequities in women's sports, she wouldn't have had to be in Russia in the first goddamn place.
Exactly.
Yeah, I want to read the book.
Yeah, if you want to talk about women's sports, this is how you talk about it. Let's talk about pay inequity. Let's talk about, those things. But it's not really about supporting women after all.
Never was.
No.
I'm excited to read the book, but I'm also scared because, again, 10 months in a Russian prison. She is a woman. Mm-hmm. So, that was hard. She is a black woman. Mm-hmm. And she is a queer black woman. Mm-hmm. Chaw.
Yeah.
In Russia.
Where
none of those things equals an easy life.
No kidding.
And that's if you're Russian. So can you imagine?
Mm. Random House Children's Books will be also publishing a young adult edition of this book in the future, which is very cool. Her first book, In My Skin, My Life on and Off the Basketball Court, was released in 2015. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So she's already got one book out there. And this will be a second one talking about her lived experience. And she is thankfully back in the States and able to write about it now.
Go ahead, Brittany.
Yeah. That's cool. Very cool. So who is Zach Bryan?
Zach Bryan is a country music singer.
Okay.
And he publicly criticized his fellow musicians for their childish behavior in the wake of Dylan Mulvaney and her partnership with Bud Light. He said, "I mean no disrespect towards anyone specifically. I don't even mind Travis Tritt. I just think insulting transgender people is completely wrong because we live in a country where we can all just be who we want to be. It's a great day to be alive, I thought," he said on Twitter. He mentioned Travis Tritt because this 60-year-old alleged adult said he would delete Anheuser-Busch products from his hospitality list due to Bud Light's latest advertisement featuring Mulvaney.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Great Day to Be Alive was a reference to a Travis Tritt song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, we had the Kid Rock bullshit that we talked about last week. Whatever.
There was a meme on Facebook this week that said, "Let us remind you that Kid Rock grew up from money and privilege, and the whole good old boy working class persona is a costume for the money.
Yeah, we will get to the Anheuser-Busch's response was as weak and ridiculous as their beer.
I was going to say, yeah.
But we'll do that in the cavalcade. In the meantime, do we have a 15-minute fave?
We do.
Okay.
So this past weekend, I worked for Project Motion, which is a all-female modern jazz troupe in Philly.
And it's Moshen, right?
Yes.
Motion.
Yes. Kelly Motion is the director. And when I found out her company was called Project Motion, I was like, see, this all just worked perfectly for you, didn't it?
Right. I love it.
And as it turns out, I was one of Kelly's very first dance teachers.
Wow.
Back in the day. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And the director of the school, the Institute of Dance Artistry, was there at the show last night. So we had a little mini reunion. She was one of the original members of my dance company, Underground Dance Works.
How about that?
Talk about a full circle moment.
A full circle moment.
So that brings us to the 15-minute fave. My waking thought this morning was the song Cover Me by Bjork, because that is the song that I choreographed, the very first piece that Underground Dance Works premiered so many years ago.
What year was that premiere?
That would be 1999.
Oh my.
I know.
In the last century.
Exactly.
In the last century.
In a theater that don't even exist anymore. That's how long
Wow.
ago it was.
There we go. Well, then let's head on out to the break with Bjork's
Cover Me.
We'll be right back.
Hey, you.
Want to get doomed?
I'm Tessa.
And I'm Nicole, and we have a spanking new podcast for your ear holes called Doom Generation.
Listen in as two foul-mouthed biddies have an always casual, often comedic...
What? I think we're funny.
...and sometimes chaotic conversation about the things that doomed us to be who we are today.
Take a trip with us down nostalgia lane, and we'll try not to veer off the road.
Available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Doom Generation Pod, and on Twitter at DoomGen Pod. Later, Doomers!
And we're back.
We're back.
So I did want to point out, and I meant to mention this at the top of the show, dear listeners, you may notice that there are now ads permeating our episodes. We are most thankful to the ASA Collective for allowing us to, or helping us to move to Spreaker as our new platform. And with that has come the ability to monetize in ways that we weren't previously able to. It's never been maybe easier or more relevant to say that for just $3 a month, you can join us on Patreon and you will get every episode ad-free and before everyone else.
Yep.
Right? And that is
patreon.com/fullcirclethepod.
There we go. And of course, we love the $6 tier where some more things happen.
Yes.
For ya.
Yes, you get access to all of our bonus content and behind the scenes stuff, and it only gets better from there. It's fun over there at the Patreon. See, it feels fun. We're doing this at the
I wanted to mention it because you are now hearing more ads than you've ever heard with us, and certainly we went through a period of time where ads were promised with the last platform, but that never happened. So it's happening now. Yay, progressive, I guess, because I've heard a lot of progressive. I was listening.
Right.
And, like I said, I just wanted to mention that Patreon will bypass all that if you'd like. And we love our patrons.
We do.
Y'all make a lot possible for us. So I thank you, and I thank
true.
you in advance if you are going to join us now. Anyway, it is time for the cavalcade of nonsense.
Yeah,
well. And I do want to start it. I am not going to read this whole weak-ass letter from Anheuser-Busch because it's kind of ridiculous. The part that, bothers me and many others buried right in the middle of this letter that came out from the CEO of Anheuser-Busch. We never intended to be part of a discussion that divides people. We are in the business of bringing people together over a beer. If that's not fuck the trannies, I don't know what is. Amelia Bedelia did post, I believe, on Twitter, has the corporation ever issued a public apology for acknowledging that you exist, or are you cis?
right.
Amen.
Yeah, weak sauce. Wah, wah. Because you were like, did you get to the sentence yet when I was reading it?
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing was weak and sad and ridiculous. So I was
It
like,
is.
I was like, oh, which one?
It is. They could have gotten clout. They didn't need that sentence. Whoa. We didn't mean to edit. We are not a conversation. We are human beings. I am so sick of that, the way this is framed, like transgenderism and the debate. This is not a debate. These are actual human beings. Thank you.
Who exists.
We exist.
Period.
We always have. We always will. And, the fact that some of y'all don't like it or agree with me, whatever that means, is inconsequential. And this was just really weak. I mean,
Right.
I was actually thinking about, buying a little Budweiser to do something with it, but not anymore.
Nope.
Not anymore.
Y'all
Thanks.
fuck that up.
Yeah. Thanks once again for throwing us under the bus. Yeah.
Just have some lukewarm dishwater. It'll all be the same.
I know,
anyway,
right? Yeah. I actually prefer beer to what they sell anyway, but yeah.
File that under they tried it.
Mm-hmm.
And failed.
And they failed, yeah. That, without that line, bloody, 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 it would have been fine. But, that particular little sentence just turned my stomach. Like,
Yeah.
really? Like, whoops. Sorry about that. We acknowledged one trans person in all this time, and there was backlash, and we just want everybody to have a good time and love us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like I was run over by a Clydesdale.
With no spine.
Yeah, right. A spineless Clydesdale. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Title.
Maybe. So I assume you put this in the cavalcade because
It has to happen.
the fact that it exists
Yeah.
is sad.
Yeah.
But there is a nonprofit group now working to help transgender people escape the United States of America, or as I like to say, these divided states of America. Transport,
Clever name.
it is. Transport offers its clients resources and support as they seek to leave the country to start a better life elsewhere.
Ain't that some shit?
They launched just 2 weeks ago, and they seek to help transgender Americans escape the United States. Nearly 36 applicants have already sought assistance emigrating from the country or obtaining asylum. In the wake of anti-LGBTQ plus laws popping up in red states nationwide, many transgender people are seeking ways to leave their homes to find a better life. This is why Transport hopes to step in. It helps trans people obtain legal documents such as valid IDs and passports to ultimately leave the United States. They plan to transport at-risk transgender people abroad into more accepting societies, according to Vice. I am reading this out of the Advocate. About 30 young people have applied for assistance. The group's founder, Rin Azariel Wilgos,
I think it's Wilgos.
Told the outlet. The demographic is typically people in their 20s, which is really surprising because they were initially the ones that were like, oh, we need to stay and fight, and we need to do this, we need to do that. And although Transport focuses primarily on trans people from North Dakota, Oklahoma residents have also contacted the organization. Oklahoma is currently working to ban gender-affirming care beyond those under 18. We're getting a lot of traffic from Oklahoma. So what I've done is I've created the list saying, okay, if this is what you want to do, this is what you need to do before you leave. Clients are screened for ancestral links to a potential country that would make moving easier.
Smart.
Clients can find, I'm screwed either way. Yeah, kind of so are you. Yeah, well, anyway. I'm not going to Hungary. I'm not doing that.
Shit.
Half my genes are, maybe we should check. Maybe we should do that 23andMe stuff and just actually check.
Right.
Because my father was some of everything. Like,
I mean, we could go to Ireland.
Yeah.
County Cork.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I know what's going on in the UK is not fun.
Yeah, once it left my face, I was like,
Scotland seems to be the best of what's going on right now.
I think I've got some Scottish in me.
Okay, but I've had Scottish in me too. I don't think it's in my DNA, though. The face that you're making right now. Anyway, a key focus for Transport is fundraising so that the organization can cover most of its clients' costs. The whole process from beginning to end costs $2,000 a person. Experts warn that seeking asylum in Europe will be challenging for transgender Americans because the rules dictate that one must be persecuted in one's home country.
Just turn on the television and point at it.
Americans can move from red states to blue states, or from states with draconian restrictions to those that do not have them. And that's what I would be doing if I were living in one of these states right now. I would probably be coming here to New Jersey.
You pulled that right out of my head, yeah.
But we're already here, so I'm good.
Yeah,
I am good. But goddamn.
I know.
Yeah, I those states, though, tend to be more expensive and require resources that many trans people trying to flee their homes don't have.
Yeah.
And I hear that, too.
That's the big part.
The ACLU is tracking more than 450 anti-LGBTQ plus bills introduced throughout the country, from bills banning gender-affirming care for children and adults to laws that give teachers the authority to misgender trans students. Yeah, we know. Republicans have associated gender-affirming care falsely with child abuse. I understand the urge. I do. I get it. But it really is something a lot of folks don't have the resources to do. And again, it is tough to justify, I guess, if you're talking about asylum because of that. Because there are states where these things are not happening. And in fact, the opposite is happening, that we are being affirmed.
Right.
Through the law and through executive order and,
Right. It's not like the entire country from the top down is...
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it last week that, there is now a new transgender website. It's like transgender.newjersey.gov.
Yes.
A lot of resources, how, easy it is and how actually affirming it is to do a name change in the state of New Jersey. Those records are sealed. They don't become public record. Thank you, Governor Murphy. Mm-hmm. We don't have to publish in the newspaper anymore. There's a lot of garbage and bullshit we don't have to do anymore, including prove that we're trans, which was always really kind of degrading.
Yeah, I was going to say problematic at the very best.
Yeah, so I'd be looking at that. It's a little cheaper to move state to state than it is to move to
Country to country, yeah.
an entirely new country. But transport exists, and, we'll see what we hear from them. And it's a shame that, Americans are feeling
the need
to do this in the first place, and betrayed by the states that many of them grew up in, and their families grew up in, and they're having to think about leaving everything they know behind because of Republicans being jackasses.
Right. Is this the country that you want, really? Where your own citizens, they feel the need to flee because of the environment that you are creating?
Well, you already know what their answer is. Their answer is don't let the door hit you.
Right.
Which, that's also my answer to some of these people. It's like, if you don't like the fact that we exist, go elsewhere. I don't know. Go elsewhere. But it's also icky. Anyway, that's a thing now.
Yeah.
And, a DC Library Pride display causes uproar among right-wing authors and influencers. Did it now?
Yeah. So,
talk to me.
In the Cleveland Park Library in Washington, D.C., they had what was called a Brave Story Hour.
Okay.
Hosted by conservative manuscript publisher Brave Books.
Mm-hmm.
And it featured authors like far-right conspiracy theorist Jack Posobiec. I don't know how to say his name and I don't care. Former White House press secretary Sean Spicer, aka the Bush Dweller. Kirk Cameron.
Oh, look. Uh-huh.
And Miss Thing of Libs of TikTok, whose name I will not say.
Unbelievable.
And not say and Nazi sound a lot alike. And
not say and Nazi do sound a lot alike. Yeah, so this is all noteworthy. First of all, not because of the event or the fact that it was well attended, but the response that surrounded this garbage.
Uh-huh.
That is what is noteworthy, right?
So throughout the library, there were pride flags, rainbows, and a sign reading, Cleveland Park Library celebrates all sexual orientations.
Excellent.
Trans flags were hung inside and outside of the library.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And so, of course, these people had a little moment. They just couldn't take it.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, the event was 30 minutes late. Just like their attitudes.
Uh-huh.
They claimed it was because people were looking for parking. Only 20 children and 25 adults, most without kids, attended the story hour.
Trolling for dates. I don't know.
Oh, see.
Mm. The Libs of TikTok person complained to her 2 million followers about the scene she encountered upon entering this space. This is what greeted us in Cleveland Park Library for our book reading. She wrote alongside... This woman is not smart, by the way.
Nope.
So just saying her name and books in the same sentence seems weird.
Right.
Because not a reader of this one. I'm pretty sure of it.
Nope.
She wrote alongside photos of colorful displays of books. Pride display right at the entrance of Cleveland Park Library where we had a book reading. Books include topics about kids transitioning and exploring their gender. We asked them when they put it up. Yesterday, they answered. They're after our kids, and they're not even hiding it. She wrote, you're the ones that are after kids. You are the ones that they're fucking up the lives of so many people. That's not us, honey. The fact that someone is relevant for being an asshole and being misinformed and being a fucking liar is, I still don't get it.
I know.
But yeah, whatever.
And I'm just thinking, like, what would they rather have had on display
what
for
they
their
would have
event?
rather had.
Like swastikas and SS flags.
I guess white robes.
Right.
AK-47s.
Right.
Yeah, all that shit. George Williams, the spokesperson for DC's libraries, tells The Advocate that the event was not library sponsored. Rather, the space was granted per a public meeting room request. The library lets residents use meeting rooms for up to 3 hours free of charge, provided they are open to the public and free of charge. He says it is not the library's policy to exclude groups from its public meeting rooms based on the subject matter of their discussions or the ideas they advocate. He notes that the library's feedback on Twitter, by email, and by phone indicates that there was a perception by some that the library endorses the views of the groups that used the Cleveland Park Library's public meeting room. The library created the displays to correct that misinterpretation of its core value of welcoming everyone.
Ha!
Materials available in the library presented diversity of viewpoints, allowing people of all ages access to the information needed to make informed decisions, be entertained, support new interests, or any other myriad of needs. Various programs and services are offered at the DC Public Library to engage the community in informational, cultural, and educational forums and opportunities that transform perspectives and foster lifelong learning. So the fact that they had this, bullshit thing to begin with, it's cavalcade, isn't it?
Yes.
I love the response, though. I love that the library made it known that they were not involved in this crap.
Yeah, they were like, don't get it twisted.
Mm-hmm.
Do not.
Mm-mm-mm. Let's move on. Well, this is what they think. I mean, I'm just reading the headline. GOP lawmaker says 12-year-olds are too young to be trans, but old enough to marry. Of course. Of course.
First of all, ew.
Ew. Indeed. Yeah, but yeah, these are the thinkers we're dealing with, folks. He said he knows a 12-year-old girl who got pregnant and then married. Their marriage is thriving. Oof. During a Missouri House of Representatives debate on Tuesday, an anti-trans state lawmaker proudly supported 12-year-olds getting married while supporting a bill banning trans youth from accessing gender-affirming care up to age 18 and forcibly detransition trans youth. He even said that he knew a kid who got married at age 12 and happily informed his colleagues that she is still with her husband. Effectively, Missouri State Senator Mike Moon, a Republican of course, was arguing that a 12-year-old is too young to know what their gender is, but not too young to enter into a marriage contract and a sexual relationship, even if it's with an adult.
So you don't know if you're a boy or a girl when you're 12?
I did.
Thank you.
I knew when I was 3.
Thank you.
During the debate, State Rep Peter Meredith, a Democrat, asked State Senator Moon about his support for HB 419, the ban on gender-affirming care for trans minors, while he voted against a bill to raise the state's minimum marriage age to 16 back in 2018.
I can hear the banjos.
I've heard you talk about parents' rights to raise their kids how they want, Meredith said. In fact, I just double-checked. You voted no on making it illegal for kids to be married to adults at the age of 12. If their parents consented to it, you said, actually, that should be the law because it's the parents' right and the kid's right to decide what's best for them, to be raped by an adult.
That part. Ugh.
Moon asked Meredith if he knew anyone who got married at age 12. I don't need to, Meredith responds. I do, and guess what? They're still married, Moon said smugly. Wow. The 2018 bill to raise the marriage age to 16, which still allowed for some but fewer child marriages, ultimately passed without Moon's support. Good. The minimum age for marriage should be 30.
Right? I'm just thinking of my students back in the day. There's some 12-year-olds that I wouldn't let walk up the street by themselves.
Exactly.
The fuck?
People just, oh my God. While conservatives have spent decades arguing that same-sex marriage will lead to child marriage as an attempt to associate LGBTQ plus people with child predators, it's generally the more conservative lawmakers who oppose ending child marriage. Yup. Child welfare advocates say that such laws help cover up and even legalize child sex abuse, of course.
Right.
For example, a 55-year-old man could get married to a 13-year-old girl and legally abuse her in a way that would be illegal if they didn't get married. If this sounds far-fetched, it's not. In fact, child marriages are legal in 44 U.S. states, and 20 states don't require any minimum age for marriage with a parental or judicial waiver. Approximately 248,000 children were married in the U.S. between 2000 and 2010. The vast majority were girls wed to adult men, many who were much older. The fact that Missouri Senator Mike Moon said that 12-year-olds can be married off to adults just sickens me, tweeted Jess Piper, executive director of Blue, Missouri. My daughter is nearly 11 and still plays with Barbies.
Thank you.
And her baby dolls.
Thank you.
In another tweet, she noted that over 7,000 teens under the age of 18 got married in her state from 2000 to 2014, and the vast majority were girls. 1/3 of the marriages involved men between the ages of 20 and 60.
Ew.
Indeed.
Ew. Because, like, my first thought when you were like, I know a 12-year-old that got married and they're still married. I want to be like, and where do they live? And what time are they home? And can you speak into this microphone when you answer the question? Because the police will be at their door. My God. Disgusting.
On Twitter, Moon further discussed the 12-year-old he knew and said that they impregnated a minor of similar age. And they got married with their parents' consent. Her parents consented, no force.
Well, that makes it better.
How the fuck can you consent any of this for a child? Anyway, but we can't have trans healthcare.
You know there had to have been money involved.
I don't know. Well, I don't know that. I think there were banjos involved, but I don't know about money.
Cue the banjos.
Her parents consented, no force, he said, even though parents' consent for gender-affirming care for trans youth wouldn't matter if HB 419 passed. Their marriage is thriving.
According to who? Jazz Carr?
Exactly. I'm sure he didn't. The Missouri House of Representatives, which has a Republican supermajority, voted in favor of HB 419 on Tuesday night, giving it a first round of approval in a 106-45 vote. All state House Republicans, except for 2, voted in favor of it, and all state House Democrats voted against it. Dear God, dear God, dear God, dear God. Republicans rejected an amendment to allow trans youth who are currently getting gender-affirming care to continue it, instead giving them 6 months to stop and detransition. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. This bill bans transgender minors from accessing gender-affirming treatments, including hormones and puberty blockers. Major medical groups, including the American Medical Association and the American Academy of Pediatrics, approve of these treatments for trans youth, while Republican state lawmakers mostly disapprove. They don't belong in this conversation.
Right.
That should be evident to anyone who is a thinking human being.
Yeah.
They also passed a bill that banned trans youth from participating in school sports. Thanks. The bill, which applies to public and charter schools, grades 6 through 12, requires student athletes to play with the team associated with their sex assigned at birth. Wow. So trans kids won't be playing sports is basically what will happen if this stuff even stands. But dear God. Both bills need another round of votes before going to the Missouri Senate. Yeah, so 12-year-olds marrying, A-okay. 12-year-olds getting gender-affirming care, with the consent and involvement of their doctor and their parents. Nope,
is against
okay.
Jesus.
Nope. You can't do that. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. But you can, sign for your 12-year-old to fuck a 55-year-old if that's your thing. You can do that. Ugh. That's okay. That's parental rights right there.
Sure.
Yeah. And they say this shit with no irony whatsoever. Isn't it fun?
Sure. We can skip this next one if you really want to.
That's up to you. Why is it there?
Because I wanted to make fun of it, but now I don't even care that much.
Okay.
Yeah, like someone tried to say Lil Nas X wasn't gay because
he's gay.
Because he allegedly wasn't gay in high school. It's like, you never heard of being in the closet?
Mm-hmm.
And my whole thing when I read it was, you gonna fuck around and make him like suck a dick on Twitter or something. And then I was like, wait, now I don't know who to root for.
Right. Exactly.
And that's really the long and short of the story.
Okay. Yeah. Some woe Vicky person trying to seem relevant, I guess.
Yeah.
Made these remarks. Yeah. She shared a conspiracy theory about his sexuality. This is so ridiculous. So ridiculous.
So yeah, Lil Nas X is gay.
Yeah,
gay.
I'm pretty sure he is very gay. And proud of it. He's out there. Was she saying that that's a stunt? No, it's not, honey. No.
If I may quote Kylie Sonique Love, Lil Nas X is as gay as 2 guys blowing 5 guys.
That's accurate.
That's more of a paraphrase than a quote, but still the essence is there.
Yeah. So let's take a break. That is it. That's all the cavalcading we're going to do.
Hallelujah.
For this episode. Woo. Had enough. That is enough. And we will be back and cleanse our palates.
Yeah.
With the pop culture.
The popping of it all.
The popping of the culture. We'll be right back.
Ooh, no one has ever asked me that question.
Yeah, that's a great question. Something I've been thinking a lot about.
That's a really good question.
Okay, let me explain to you about sex. And then I was like, oh my God. Oh. Also, there's no Santa Claus.
Fat Chicks on Top podcast with Auntie Vice. Great questions, even better answers.
And we're back. And through the magic of audio editing, 7 hours have elapsed. So that was a very long break in reality because we stopped to go to the Bristol Riverside Theater and see their last production of Cabaret.
Which was amazing.
It really was.
Oh my God.
And you see things I wonder if other folks saw us. Clearly.
Yeah, there were some very strong choices made by the production team. It's the last performance, so we can't spoil it.
Right.
So if you're at all familiar with the show, Cabaret, the whole thing turns to the rise of the Nazi Party.
Exactly.
And in this particular production, the MC gets taken by the Nazis and slapped with a pink triangle, which was a new twist that we didn't see coming.
I did not.
And then, as if that wasn't enough, I happened to look up at the lighting, as I am wont to do, and I noticed that there were several different colors shining on him at this moment. Pink, blue, and white. And I leaned over to Martha and I said, oh shit, those are the trans colors.
It really was. Yeah, I started to cry.
Yeah, that was
I was
deep.
like, oh my God, that was powerful.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have you would go to a show with a lighting designer. It's amazing what you say. But yeah, that looked very intentional because you wouldn't light with those three colors, right?
I mean, it's a
Or would
choice,
you?
but
I don't know.
it's not a typical choice. It was definitely intentional.
Yeah, because it was very clearly pink, blue, and white.
Right. But it's one of those things like it set a mood. And if you're not looking at the lights like me, you probably did not notice it like that.
Right. No, I'm glad you saw it and pointed it out. It was really poignant. It was a great production. I loved the person who played Sally Bowles. She was fantastic.
It's not your grandmom's cabaret.
It really wasn't. And I've never seen the song Cabaret performed like that.
Yeah, because normally when we get to that point, it's done as a big show-stopping show tune.
Yeah, it's like the 11 o'clock number, I guess. It's like
Exactly.
the one before the finale.
But the way they did it in this production, it was like, Sally's dragging herself out to, give it one more shot and try to
Right.
regain the little bit of fame that she, was clinging to.
Right.
And
It was powerful. It was
It
kind of
really
like her
was.
life, had been sort of unraveling, and yeah, it was an interesting choice. Just the way that it was done, it was really a strong performance all the way around. It was powerful. I don't think I've felt so much.
not in a musical theater production.
Right. And I mean, right. And I've seen Cabaret done, and I've seen the movie many times. And
Right. Same.
I don't think I ever felt the way I did today. And it was really kind of strong. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe I walked out of the theater going, I was shook.
Right. It was kind of good that it was, we went to a matinee, so it was still daylight, and
Yeah.
kind of took a minute to stand near the river and compose a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it was really powerfully done. It was really powerfully done, and it really did make the point. Kind of the good Nazi thing, and the folks who stood by and made their choices based on
Yeah.
fear, and really it ties in so well to what is happening right now in America.
Yeah. It was
They
they made very good, strong choices. Kudos to Bristol Riverside Theater.
enjoyed that very much. So that was our culture for this weekend,
Yes.
and it was good.
It was very good.
And what else?
Oh, well, apparently, we were talking about The Mandalorian earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So Lizzo and Jack Black had a cameo on The Mandalorian. And
Okay.
fanboys apparently were mad, claiming that it's not for nerds anymore. It's for the cool kids.
What is?
The Star Wars, because there's people that you've actually actively heard of in the series. Fanboys make no sense.
Okay.
Fanboys make no sense.
Did they ever?
No, not really. I mean, actually, that's not true. I feel like fanboys, because I considered myself a fanboy of several different things,
Okay.
but it's something about the internet that just made them insufferable.
Mm.
I don't understand. It's like this sense of entitlement to your entertainment.
Yeah, because isn't it usually yeah.
It used to be like, oh, look, we like the same things. Yay, we're nerds.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, if you don't follow these rules and do this set of things, we're going to hate bomb it.
So is The Mandalorian a Star Wars thing?
Yeah, it's
Oh, no.
it's a spin-off series.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, the whole Baby Yoda thing.
Yes.
That's The Mandalorian.
Oh.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. I haven't watched any new Star Wars properties since episodes 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
Because I got burned so bad, it's like I'm not ready to go back. And all I hear is people saying, "Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good." And I'm sure it is, but it's like, I can't bring myself to go back to the scene of the crime that willingly.
I know I saw the one with Jar Jar Binks.
That was episode 1. Technically in episode 2. Probably episode 3, I don't remember.
I don't know. I just remember seeing it. It was not the original, which I also saw, many years ago.
Right.
But I remember going to that in the theater.
Yeah, same.
Because I want to say my son wanted to see it. So he was however old at that point, 8, 9, 10, 11,
Right.
I don't know. But I remember going to see it and,
What did you think? Do you remember?
Not really. It was fine. It was Star Wars stuff. It was fine.
Well, I was a big Star Wars fan. And
Okay.
so I was so excited that there was a new Star Wars movie that I could go see in the theater. And halfway through, I'm sitting there going, there's something wrong with this movie. It's not good. I don't.
I was never, you know, I never got the whole Star Wars thing. I was like, it was fine. It's fine.
It was not a rom-com, so therefore you couldn't be
I
bothered.
guess. I don't know. I was just like, I mean, it's fine. It's okay. It's fine. But I never really got all the, you know, the folks. I mean, it was fine. R2D2 and C3PO, and I mean, I knew the characters and stuff, but it was fine. Princess Leia.
So you were not a fangirl.
Not really. I mean, I didn't not like it, but I
Right.
didn't. It was fine. Okay.
It bees what it be.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, all right.
Speaking of crazy fanboys,
Uh-huh.
so the trailer for the Marvels came out, and now fanboys are mad about that.
They're mad about a trailer?
Well, because see, the Marvels is now, it's going to be 3 female leads. Because there's Captain Marvel, played by Brie Larson.
Oh, Captain Marvel is a woman now?
Yes.
That's interesting.
The Marvel version of Captain Marvel is a woman.
So is Captain Marvel not Marvel?
Not Shazam. Shazam is
Wait.
also Captain Marvel.
What?
But Shazam is...
Huh?
I know. It's
I don't even know what you're talking about. So everyone is Captain Marvel.
There are many different characters that have the moniker of Captain Marvel.
Really?
Yes.
But is the Marvel part of it Marvel Comics?
Yes.
Okay.
Except for Shazam, who... That whole thing, there's a Captain Marvel in Shazam, too. I know, it's confusing. Don't even. It's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, so
I've forgotten already.
So
I'm good.
There's Captain Marvel, played by Brie Larson.
Okay.
Ms. Marvel, played by Iman Vellani, who had her fun series on Disney Plus. And then there's Captain Monica Rambeau, played by Tiana Paris. And so in the comics, she was also Captain Marvel, and that's a whole thing. But anyway, the 3 of them are going to be in a movie together.
Okay.
So there's 3 female leads. And whenever there's not a white man in charge of something, fanboys have a problem. But if you call them misogynistic or white supremacist, then
They get upset about
you're
that.
crazy.
Right. Well.
Because I was having this whole conversation earlier today about Ariel being black, again.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, if you point out that they're being white supremacists, they get mad. And then someone tried to tell me that white supremacy isn't a thing.
I'm sorry, what?
Exactly.
Okay.
So I had to...
It's not a thing?
Right.
The person who said that was white, of course.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just racists, and it happens from all races.
No, it doesn't.
And I'm like, you're just all lives mattering racism to me.
Yeah, how about that?
But anyway, so fanboys are mad because women are leading a movie or something. Yeah. Nerds get on my nerves.
What about Wonder Woman?
Well, see, that's different.
Or they don't like Wonder Woman?
Well, see, they like Wonder Woman because they want to fuck her.
Okay. They don't want to fuck these 3?
Don't ask me to make sense of the way these people think. But that's the only reason I can think of why Wonder Woman is as popular as it is.
Okay.
Because, except I don't know. Because in the movie that the Gal Gadot movies, she's very, a strong female figure, and they did their best to desexualize her in the way that she is in the comics, but it was still a good movie, and she was a badass, so the fanboys liked that. I don't know. Don't ask me to make sense of the way they think, because I can't.
I won't.
Yeah.
I won't.
But all that to say, nerds are mad for no real actual reason. So, it's a day that ends in Y, I guess.
I guess.
And that's really all I had for pop culture.
Really?
It was a slow news cycle.
Okay. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Yeah, because I worked. We got to see Cabaret. And there were no new Law and Orders this week. I looked. There were none.
I mean, 9 years late, I finished the 3rd season of The Boys.
Okay.
And that was very good.
Was it?
Yeah. It's a good show. But it was like, I forget why I stopped watching it, but I guess it's because, there's just so much shit on television at the same time.
There is a
that,
lot.
like, keeping up with all these series at the same time is kind of hard.
There's a lot.
Yeah. So I was like, the other night, I was like, you never finished watching The Boys. You need to do that. And so I did. And so now that's done.
I forgot it existed. It was a while ago.
Well, we watched the first season together.
Right.
And you liked it.
I think I did, yeah.
You did. The second season, I forget why we didn't watch it together, but I finished that and that was good. So basically, in the
sorry.
In the first season they dealt with like, the evil of what's that word when you make everything a commodity and put a price on everything?
Commodification?
Yeah, but no.
Capitalism.
Okay. I'm tired too. I can't think of words.
Capitalism.
So the first season is about the evils of capitalism. The second season was about how we can let Nazis take over if we don't pay attention.
Well,
and the third season was basically about the rise of Donald Trump.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's all a metaphor.
Well, yeah, sadly that wasn't a metaphor.
Yeah.
That really happened.
But yeah, so that's where we are with the pop culture at this moment in time.
Yeah. So we have a very full week ahead of us. You are working many days.
I am.
With Dance Fusion this week, I think.
Yeah, Fusion 2, which is the show that put me on the map to be working at the Performance Garage.
Right.
So
yeah,
my year anniversary is coming up.
It's been a year. How about that?
It's crazy.
Time flies.
It does.
Time just flies.
It does.
Yeah. We're in season 2 of our podcast, for crying out loud.
I know.
And speaking of which, why don't you tell the folks? It's time for podcast business. So the words are just not flowing. I'm sorry. It was a good day, though. I enjoyed the day, and I have to work tomorrow. So, let's keep this train moving.
Will do. If you have not yet, take the time to go to Apple Podcasts or Good Pods or wherever you listen to this show and enjoy it, and like us and subscribe to us and give us a rating or review, 5 stars or more, please. Follow us on our social at Full Circle Pod on Twitter, at Full Circle The Pod on Instagram, at Full Circle The Podcast on TikTok. You can go to our link tree, which has all of our information, linktree/Full Circle The Pod. Martha can be found at iMarthaMadrigal everywhere. Her writing is iammarthamadrigal.wordpress.com. I am at Neverscurred everywhere. You should also consider becoming a patron of the show at our Patreon, patreon.com/FullCircleThePod. At the $3 a month tier, you can get access to all of our episodes ad-free and before everyone else. And starting at the $6 a month tier, you can have access to all of our behind-the-scenes and bonus footage. It's fun over there at the Patreon. Feel free to drop us a line if you have a story idea or just a bit of gossip, news, or praise at askfullcirclepod@gmail.com. You can also check us out on our Discord channel, Full Circle the Podcast. Podcast business over.
I love that. So, anything else? Any parting thoughts? Anything else going on? Anything rattling around in your head that you just need to get out right now?
Let's see. Fuck racists and transphobes.
Yeah. Okay.
Art is good. Read books.
Yeah, please. While you can.
Love your fellow man and woman.
Right. And every one glorious person in between.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, that works for me. It works for me. So, until next time, I am Martha Madrigal.
And I am Charles Tyson Jr.
And you've been listening to Full Circle,
the podcast.
And we will catch you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Full Circle is a Never Scurred Productions podcast, hosted by Charles Tyson Jr. and Martha Madrigal, produced and edited by Never Scurred, executive produced by Charles Tyson Jr. and Martha Madrigal. Our theme and music is by the Jingleberries. All names, pictures, music, audio, and video clips are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respective copyright holders.